like I said before, we was talking about the control as far as economics. And when you're dealing with economics, you're dealing with money, of course. But a lot of people that's controlled are never taught about economics. They taught about, quote, so-called spirituality. You know what I'm saying? And they talk about spirituality in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So since we live in a capitalistic society, and capitalism means money, big bank take little bank, pretty much. Why aren't we taught like that? Why aren't we taught about money? Why isn't that not a minor focus but a major focus in those schools? You know what I'm saying? So what happens is you get people that's taught about economics, and you get people that's not taught about economics, and what happens is the human gets trapped into debt. And your human trapped into debt, so what does that do to your spiritual side? He ain't trapped into debt, he flossing, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, when your human get trapped into debt, your spiritual side get beat down because your human got to go to work every day. Your human got to go and do all these chores, and it don't let the creative side, which is your spiritual side, flourish. You know what I'm saying? But if you was taught about economics, you would be taught how to take money, save money, use money as leverage, invest. You know what I'm saying? Look for the most powerful return, all that stuff. And then what can happen? Boom. You can let your spiritual side, your creative side, go out and really do what your calling is. So, you know, if you're taught right, you can make your living using your creativeness, and that in turn will live your making. You know, no, I got it backwards. You know what I'm saying? You take the spiritual side and make that make your living. I mean, live your making. That's what I'm saying. You gotta live your making. Live what you are. Live what you was born to be, and that will make your living. Like a lot of these artists, whether they be actors, singers, dancers, rappers, you know, people that's using their creative talents. You know, a lot of them said they had to step out on a limb and cast everything to the side and decide to live their making, live what they felt like they was meant to be. And then that in turn made their living. Now, you know, we can talk about all the little different factions you got to go through to do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's beside the point. If a person felt like that's what they were born to do. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you were born to be an electrician, you know, there are different avenues and venues that you have to go to be a licensed electrician. But once you do that, boom, that will make you a living. You know, same thing as anything you feel like, you know, that's your character. That's something that's part of you. That's something that's in you off the top. Go for it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's in a capitalistic society, when you're dealing with economics, that's the easiest way to make money. That's like being an alchemist. You're turning nothing into something. A lot of people, they buy goods and they sell goods. You know, they operate machinery to create things. You know, they do labor jobs. You know, even, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? It's about education. The more educated you are, the better you can do your job. So whether you operating a forklift, a backhoe, a grader, the nicer you are with it, 9 times out of 10, the more money you gonna make. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, if you feel like you're doing something just to make money, now you're in a prison. You ain't free no more. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing something that you want to do, you know, taking Dave Chappelle, for instance. Dave Chappelle said his father asked him, how much money you want to make off comedy before he started doing comedy. He asked his father how much you made. His father said something like 42,000, something like that. He said, cool, as long as I can make that, I'm good. So he was using his spiritual attributes or his creative talents. And he said, oh, dog, as long as I can make what you make a year, I'm good with that. And he made a whole lot more than that. Because, boom, as his creative talent started to flourish, they made his living. He lived his making. He was living his making, and that made his living way past what he thought it could be. So that's the thing, they put us in the prison dealing with these economics, dealing with this money system that we're not taught about. And the controllers and the controllers' children and the people that's plugged in with the controllers, they learn about these things because it only makes sense. Once again, if you want to maintain control, especially control of a certain people, you know what I'm saying, you hide the knowledge. You hide the knowledge. You hide the knowledge of certain things, how you flourish economically, because that's the world that we in. It's about a dollar now. It's about leveraging your money to be able to buy as much product, and it's about having your money put in a certain format that the wealth will transfer over to your ancestors. The people that's being controlled don't understand this because, once again, the knowledge was hidden. But when you fast forward up to now, there's not too many excuses you can have for not knowing these type of things. You hear about people every day where you be like, damn, yo got the 745. Yeah, his peoples died, they had $1 million policy on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Now, he might be acting a fool buying cars and doing crazy shit, but that's how he got the money. When you look at the other ethnic groups that are closer to the ones that are maintaining the control, they know how to follow the pattern. They get $1 million dropped on them when their parents died. They don't go buy cars and stuff. They look for businesses and property to invest in. You know what I'm saying? But once again, I say, it's only right if you want to control some people that you hide the knowledge, and especially, the system changes constantly. First it was just about words, about being able to articulate certain words the European that came up with. The European has been past that 100, almost 200 years. You know what I'm saying? The language changed to business. The language changed to computer language. The language changed to social networks. You know what I'm saying? The language constantly changes, and it's because we slowly catching up, but the ones that are in control have to maintain the jump on us to keep their control. If not, how they going to do that? How they going to maintain the control? You know what I'm saying? But it's, it's different factors that they have done to make sure that even if the money ain't right, you know what I'm saying, deep down in our minds, which we call our heart, we will defend them because they have become us and we have become them. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that aspect, the only thing that's really able to be done is to learn about the economic system. Once you learn about the economic system, you can make yourself more independent. Whether you are them or you're not them, you still have to be independent of the control. You know what I'm saying? Now, to a certain aspect, you'll never be totally independent of control. You'd be crazy living in the woods, running around with a shotgun, shitting in a bucket outside. You know what I'm saying? So we got to, think about what really makes sense to do and what not to do. But what really makes sense not to do is to get educated, especially if you're part of the ethnic groups and the North Americas and South Americas, Africa, the different, hey, you got to get educated. You got to get up to speed. That's all it was about. It's not about a race where we're going to beat them and their system. The only way we beat them is another system being created, and it's done all the time, but they have the economic leverage to jump up in it and control it. You know what I'm saying? Marinate on that for a minute. Think about it. Be back at you with the next segment.